for this year's budget, we, as a government, we in Treasurer are expecting 20 million kina. That was the budgeted forecast target for KCH to provide to the government. So let's wait just for a few minutes and see whether KCH have met their target or not. So I look forward to that. But whatever the deposits received today, that will be lodged with our consolidated revenue. It'll add to our revenue numbers for this year in 2022. I know most of you won't be into the details, but we had forecast revenue at around 16.1 billion or 16,000 million kina this year. In our revised budget, our supplementary budget, we had amended that, increased that to a touch over 17,000 million. So the good news for this year, whilst I will wait until the parliamentary sitting to make announcements on our more finite numbers, the good news is that we're very hopeful that we will not just meet but possibly exceed our revenue targets for this year. So that's really good news under very, very difficult circumstances, as most of you are aware. Yes, we have our budget to be presented at this stage, still scheduled for Tuesday, the 22nd of November. And as a good government under Prime Minister Marape, we will, of course, offer the opposition an opportunity to respond the following Tuesday.
We've been doing that for
and we've been doing it for 3 years. Thank you for the reminder, Prime Minister. And then hopefully we can pass that through the Parliament. But suffice to say, just for today, we will be presenting a budget in a world that's has changed substantially in the last 6 months. We go into next year with imported inflation here in our own country, increased inflation globally, all of you are aware, and especially economically, we're led very much by the US economy, especially by the US Federal Reserve, who continue to raise interest rates very aggressively, and with their announcements of a self-induced recession. Clearly, our small economy here in Papua New Guinea will need to accommodate that, and we need to come up with some further plans to deal with it. But finally, just for this morning, I know there's been a lot of discussions on debt. I'm not one for social media. I know I should be. I'll get a Facebook account one day. My staff do send me print screens, and I see a lot of emotional comments on debt in our country. Much of it driven by hearsay, a little bit of politics involved, not much of it on facts. But can I just assure all of us in this room today that whilst debt has continued to grow since we formed our government 3 years ago, and whilst debt will continue to grow just for a little bit more as we build up our capital budget and use those funds to continue to grow our economy. This government has announced, and we have a very clear plan to ensure that our deficit will be eroded, and we will clear that by 2027. So that's really the point of difference between the Marape-Rosso government and previous administrations. We have a clear plan to go back into a budget surplus by 2027. And for those sitting in this room, you'll probably recall, or if you don't, let me remind you, the last budget surplus our government had was back in 2010. And before that, we had a budget surplus in the years 2003, if I recall correctly, up to about 2006 to 2006. So we have a clear plan to do that. And of course, you've all heard our announcements already with our 13-year plan. We have a clear plan by 2034, 12 years' time, 12 years' time, to give the government of the day the option to reduce our entire sovereign debt.